cool mountain air.
So I can tell you this is not the same build that you're seeing in the previous video. I lost the footage of the back panel build and assembly, and we have a customer who wants these other types of breakers which actually run on a rail. So these are not the same order, but we just started laying these out, and since I can't find the footage of laying out the other order that you're seeing, this is the same thing. We're putting this big breaker on. It's a 250 amp, 30 amp, 100 amp. This is a dual, so it's 250s and another 100 amp, and they're of course shunted together or linked together. But you can see that we have the bus bar. These are much smaller because this is a much smaller system. These, I believe, are a 9800 versus a 94, but these are a mercury switch. We set them down and we just basically put in these screws to hold them onto the back panel. After they're built and everything's screwed down, the larger things like this is held on with a bolt down each side. Anything that, like these, are being flipped on and off, and so they're, you figure over many years, of course. But this one's, you know, the threads might have enough tension on them over a long term. So then we go back and we put these nuts on the back of them to reinforce. So I'm sorry that these don't look exactly the same as the rest of that build, but it's the same thing. It's just a smaller system, and you know, I don't know what happened to it. That footage just disappeared. I'll probably find it as soon as this video is online and has 200 views or something. Anyway, that's the back panel, and then from here on I put in the wiring harnesses, and of course we run these wires that go, you know, to various locations around the unit to link it all together. When power comes in, the mercury switches are run by the card, the electronics. When you apply power to these connections, this connection internally is a switch. It turns on or off depending on what it is. These are normally open mercury displacement relays. So this one over here is a normally closed. These offset ones where this large core is farther down, they're normally open. And the power, of course, is way too high for our electronic card to withstand it. Card is definitely not designed to have 120 volts flowing through it all the time. Like most computers, it's far, far smaller amounts of electricity. So as the power goes through, the card basically controls the mercury switches and turns them on and off to either charge the battery or run the equipment off of the battery bank, or to be running it off the solar controller while it's charging the battery. And that's all done through the mercury switches, which are controlled by the electronic card. And of course we all know what breakers do. Too much power and it switches off before your stuff explodes, or at least you hope so.